Yeah, recap of our game the other night. Obviously, feel real good as I did after the game and a few things from there. I thought it was going to take a matching of their physicality, and NIU is historically a very physical team. And we've had some knockdown, drag-out games with them that were really tough over the years. So, I thought our guys did a good job with that in all three phases. I thought our limited role players and guys that maybe are going to play 10 to 12 or 14 snaps a game had to play really well. And I thought that was very evident in watching the tape. And no better play to give an example of that than a lot of those guys on that first kickoff return and on that unit that stepped up and made a key block that sprung Trayvon to get out there and get that thing kicked off. So I thought those were two key points, and guys did a really good job that way. We were much better in situational football and all around the board too, which helped and aided us to get a victory. Some guys had played really, really well. Key players and key moments. Rudolph was our special teams MVP. Tucker, I thought, had a very excellent game from start to finish when it came to the efficiency and finding the right guys with the football on time. He was the offensive MVP, and then Kevon Sherman, I thought, was really good from start to finish and a very physical presence in there all day long on defense. So, but like I said, lots of individual efforts I thought were really, really good and a good team win. And now we turn our focus towards Miami and a team that's well coached in all three phases of the game. We've had some tough battles with these guys the last few years, and I don't anticipate this one being any different. So, got to handle this trip, go on the road, and in search of our first road victory here. So, got to have a good week of practice, and looking forward to doing that.
Will there be any changes this week to, another road game coming up? Will there be any changes to really hone in on performing well?
I don't know. Maybe they'll get us an airplane to fly down to Miami. I don't know. Our process is our process. It is what it is, and we gotta do a better job of just having a really good week of practice, handle the trip for what it is. And I don't know, we're a couple. I think we've had 4 road games, and I think we're 3 out of 4 we've had some type of bus issue. So hopefully we won't have any bus issues this week. But no, we gotta own it. We gotta play better, and we gotta be better in situational football, and just gotta go win the game.
Playing against a familiar face at quarterback for Miami. I mean, is there any advantages there of kind of just like knowing his style and just knowing his strengths and weaknesses?
I think that this is 2025 in college football. This is what it is. Guys are on different rosters, and they're playing for different teams, and ultimately at some point in time that's going to cross over, and you're going to play some guys that were on your team previously. We just watched Trayvon Rudolph and Chris Medlock play against Northern Illinois the other night, so that's kind of the new norm.
And then lastly for me, you touched on this a bit on Wednesday, but go more in depth about what has made Chip and Kenji just such a good 1-2 punch in the backfield as of recent, and just how their styles of play kind of complement each other.
Yeah, number one, I think they're veteran players. You know what I mean? They're confident in their ability to prepare well. And I think that, they're two different style players, right? So the shoe fits, wear it, right? And don't make the one that doesn't fit, force it on. So we got different things for both of those guys, and they do some different stuff. So I think they complement each other well. We've had games where we haven't had, one of them. We haven't had games where we haven't had really either of them at full strength. So to have them both back out there and as healthy as we're probably going to get them at this point in time of the year. So I think it's been great to, it was good to have both of them back there the other night. We didn't run it great the other night, but we were throwing it so well, and they were, a big factor out of the backfield and finding other ways to get them touches. But they can both impact the game immediately with the football in their hand, and we got to find creative ways to continue to get it to them.
To piggyback off that, Jason, obviously having Chip back, what did you see from him, returning from injury?
Yeah, he's a pro. He's going to sit here and tell you that there's things that he wishes he had back in the game the other night. But I thought that very physical presence, caught it well at the backfield, like I said, made some good conversion downs, catches, and some good quality runs when he got into the secondary. And but I think we're off a hair on our timing a little bit, just because due to missed time, and you don't rush somebody back through the course of the week of practice. You don't, we're coming out of a boot, and we're going to put a full day of practice on him all the way up and every day up into the game, and expect him to go in there and play at the best he's played all year. That's unfair to ask. So, I thought he had a good game, and I would expect that play to continue to increase.
The passing attack obviously was very successful on Wednesday night. Just how have you seen kind of the development and growth with Tucker and the receivers, just timing wise and ball placement?
No, I think you hit the key word right there is timing. You're trying to get the ball out of your hand on time and have receivers in the right spots at the right time. And I think that goes very similar in the running game too. The more reps and the more at bats you get at these particular schemes. We're in towards the back half of our season, the back third of our season here. You're not going to just invent a new playbook each and every week. So it's consistent repetition. It's more at bats and on the things that we're going to do and we're going to rep in the game. And maybe there's some window dressing from formations and motions and things like that. But we got to protect, and then ultimately the quarterback's got to be confident in his rhythm and his ability to get out of his hand on time, in which he was the other night. And the guy's got to catch it. You're good.
You touched on obviously the challenge that Miami presents. Obviously, some great battles with you guys in the years past. What's kind of the focal point for their scheme and what you're preparing for this week?
They're very sound. Defensively, they've been as good as anybody here in the last 4 or 5 years. Defensively, it's really hard to score 30 points against them, and not many people have done that. It's hard to get touchdowns. One, they do a good job of controlling the ball on offense, so they take and limit your possessions. And two, when you have your possessions, you better be good in situational football. You better be good in conversion downs. You better be good in the red zone. You better get touchdowns if you can, and rather than field goals. And they feed off of that. I think that sets the table for everything. They play complementary football to the defense offensively, and then they're always good in the kicking game. And I go back to the MAC championship game a couple years ago, and man, they kicked our tail on special teams, and that was really the difference in the football game. So, you look at our game last year, that played a major key and a part of it early on in that game as well. So, got to take care of the ball. We're going to match their physicality, and we're going to make some more tough plays than they make.
It's not a time for reflection, obviously, but I am curious. Just this 5-game stretch at home has been super impressive. At least from the outside looking in, just kind of your take on just how well your team has been able to play at home and just that.
Yeah, not done yet. We got one more opportunity of those, but want to be able to protect your home turf, and those guys practice out there every single day. It's a place that they know well, and I think that you start there at the beginning of the season. Can you protect your home field, and can you parlay off of a great environment? And credit our crowd and our student section the other night for showing up and on a tough, a different weather night for November, but I think we really fed off that crowd and their energy and what that looked like, and it was a great night for all.
I know you guys are very focused on the now, but it seems like this upcoming MAC schedule this week can be the most consequential week as far as chances for teams to make it to the MAC title game. Maybe not, but how much of that is a point of conversation or point of motivation for you guys this week?
None. They all count as one. We sat here 4 or 5 weeks ago, and nobody wanted to ask any questions about Western Michigan because Western Michigan in July or June was picked at the bottom of the list. So everybody thought that's what it's going to be. But here we are in November and at the top of the league. If that game was today, everybody would make it a big deal about that. But they all count as one, I guess is what I'm trying to tell you. And, you better put time and energy into that one because if you don't get it, if you don't get that one, there really is no time to worry about what anybody else is doing or what lies ahead for you. So challenge still remains the same. You've got to produce in the present, not worry about what lies ahead or pay too much attention to what happened in the past, whether that be good or bad.
And it seemed like you were more animated on the sideline. Maybe I was reading that wrong last game. Was there something in particular that had you more fired up throughout last game?
No. Well, yeah, but probably not allowed to comment on those things and what motivates you and gets you upset during the course of a game. But good. On to the next one.